What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Rolling with V. As you would have guessed by now, today we're going to review the BMW e92 V8 M3.
Check out the bonnet hump, man. How cool is that? Absolutely awesome. I love it.
Okay, let's take a quick overview of the M3. So this looks absolutely aggressive. The design is over 10 years old, but still gorgeous. Clean lines, a little bit of a rounded shape compared to the new F30, but it's a classic design. If I look at the E30, E36, E46 shapes, all of them have stood the test of time and still look good up till today. Well, it ain't no bed of roses. Let's check out some of the issues with this model of M3. So, that's a 309 kilowatt V8. One of the issues that is common on these cars is the throttle actuators, which basically sit underneath the intake manifold. What happens is you've got one on each side of the bank, and one of them tends to fail. It's basically a gear in the throttle actuator. Seems like a nylon or plastic gear that wears out, and after time, because they don't sync up, the car goes into limp mode. The diagnostic generally picks up which one it is. Generally, the guys would sell you individual or full-on actuators, but if you want to get away a little bit cheaper, then you can get the gears itself imported and as an aftermarket piece and get it replaced that way. The biggest doom and gloom story is around the rod bearing failure for this particular engine. According to BMW, I think they say that it's a maintenance item and it needs to be done every so many thousand kilometers. I've done some checking around. With BMW, it's quite pricey to actually get the rod bearings changed. But if you go through to a reputable aftermarket dealer or workshop, the prices range anywhere between 25 and 35,000 Rand to have the rod bearings replaced. It's quite a lengthy job. Probably takes a few days to do at the workshop, but I think it's one full day worth of labor, or just a little bit more than that, maybe about 12 hours. If you have a look down here from the airbox, that's a route for one of the routes for air to get into the engine, and up here, that's one of the vents that air gets in and feeds that airbox. However, on this side, it's blanked off. So here it's just it's a dummy vent on the bonnet. One of the problems that dummy vent causes is when you do wash the car. Let me just close the bonnet here. When you do wash the car, water tends to stick in there, and as you drive off, then a burst of water just comes out and messes the car again. Okay, so on this car we've got Michelin Pilot Super Sports all round. In the front we've got 245 4018, and at the rear it's 265 4018. This is an 18-inch rim. Generally you see these cars with 19-inch rims, but I think it suits the car quite nicely, especially in the anthracite going on a white car. Moving on to the roof. This one's got the glass sunroof. Carbon fiber was an option on these cars as well, but if you had the carbon fiber roof, then that means you can't have the sunroof. You probably feel a bit of a difference maybe on track in terms of the lightness of carbon fiber, but overall for day-to-day use, I don't think on the road you're really going to feel too much of a difference. Another method BMW used for weight reduction was to put lightweight plastic fenders on the front fenders of this car. So you can see if I push it down there that it does flex a bit. Having said that, in 2000 or early 2000s, if you look at my Clio over here, this one's they already had plastic fenders back then. So not a new technique, but it does help reduce the overall weight. As a matter of interest, the M3's got a cold start sequence in order to prevent the cats from getting damaged. What happens is it starts off quite rowdy and then smoothens off. Alright, let's go for a drive. Okay, one of the things when the M3 starts up with the DCT gearbox, it's on the second setting for the gear changes, which I find is a bit slow. It changes very early in the rev range. I'd prefer for it to change a bit higher. That way you can get through traffic a bit better. It revs higher, you're using more of the rev range. So generally what I do is bring up the setting by 2. So it's on the 4th setting, and I think that's quite comfortable for everyday traffic driving. Obviously for more spirited driving, the idea is to then use a flappy paddle gear shift. That makes it much more enjoyable. But in normal automatic mode, the setting on 4 is fine. Okay, at the moment the power button is off. I think with the power button on, you feel a little bit more urgency. The throttle response is a bit better. I don't know if it really increases or improves the performance that much, but the overall drive feel, it changes quite a bit. Okay, let's talk about the gearbox. This has got the 7-speed DCT, M-DCT gearbox. It's a big jump up from the previous SMG on the E46. Obviously not as involved as manual gearboxes, but it's a pretty good gearbox. Another cool feature of the M-DCT, if you know, with a manual gearbox, it's easy to just drop the clutch whenever you want to. Here you obviously have to have the traction control off, but if you put your foot right down to the floor, so there's a small button right at the bottom, you press it very hard and it automatically, obviously you need to be at a standstill, put your foot straight down to the floor and it automatically drops the clutch, and then you can do burnouts if you want to. The other option is to do your launch control off the line. You get a much cleaner start, so that's probably the better way if you want to really launch it off the line. It pulls quite hard with the launch control, which is a nice feature, and I think it's going to be more accurate 8 times out of 10 or 9 times out of 10 than actually trying to launch a car with a manual gearbox without launch control. The balance on this car is exceptional. When you're coming around a bend and you throw it in, you can really carry some high speeds into the corners. Setup of the E90, pretty Spartan setup, not too many unnecessary switch gear, fairly simple to use. It's still got the iDrive system. The navigation on the iDrive is a bit dated by today's standards, but it still works. It's not really too much of an issue. But in terms of the seat quality, the leather is very good quality. Very comfortable seats. You can do long journeys without any issues in this car. You actually come out quite fresh after a 600-kilometer trip. It's a very comfortable ride. Of course, the suspension is quite firm, so in traffic and bumpy roads, it's not the best place to be. But this car is not really meant to sit in traffic. It likes the open road, windy sections as well. In the rain, with the traction control off, I think, especially if the tires are cold, it can be a handful. So be wary of that. You have to be alert. Other than that, the back tends to step out quite a bit. It's quite lively, you can say. Okay, let's put the power button on. We'll leave DSC on for now. Actually, put DSC off. This car exhaust is absolutely standard from the factory. No upgrades, no mods. The newer or the aftermarket exhaust for these cars are quite nice. They're pretty much louder. I've even heard one with a straight pipe. Straight pipe sounds absolutely wild, but not ideal for everyday driving. Okay, so overall, what's my impressions of this car? Yeah, I love it, man. It's a top cab. So I would say you've got 4 exhausts, high revving, naturally aspirated V8, and a hump on the bonnet. What more could you ask for? Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Cheers, guys.